Hello world, welcome to the 214th Climate Change Emergency Protest. It is January 14th, 2023. This is Saturday. I usually do it on Friday, but things came up and it's been very windy and today and yesterday, and it's kind of cold today. It's probably about 3 degrees Celsius or 2 degrees Celsius, 34, 36 degrees, somewhere in there. So this is number 214. Next week will be number 215, somewhere around January 20th. I'll do that. Let's see. So out west, you've had these catastrophic flooding events going on, and it's caused by a atmospheric river, as they call it. It's also called a cyclogenic bomb. But what they've had so far are 9 atmospheric rivers, I think, and they're going to have 2 more coming in. Since these low pressures come in, hit California or Oregon or Washington, but mostly California, and dump mega amounts of rain, and they've been in severe droughts. So now they're in severe floods, which is the exact opposite. So this is the price you pay for climate change. The news media organizations aren't saying anything, but it's definitely a climate change issue. This has never happened before. This is the most devastating flooding events they've ever had in California. So far, 19 people have died there. What is also happening is some of these atmospheric river events are so strong that they've gotten over the Sierra Nevadas, over the Rocky Mountains, gone through the Midwest plains and the Western plains, which are very high. They're 5,000 feet in the air, 1 mile high. Come down into the south, and then they hit last week, or earlier, a couple of days ago, hit the southern regions of Alabama, Georgia, and it killed with tornadoes. So one tornado went right through Selma, Alabama, and it was a mile wide, the tornado. These are unheard of. There were like 34 tornadoes that hit that day, and this is about 4 days ago. So 9 people died so far. I don't know how the death toll wasn't in the hundreds, because it was devastating. It leveled towns and everything, and houses all over the place. So it was really bad. It was really bad. So more severe droughts, as a result of climate change. You've had the worst drought in 1,200 years in the West. Now it's abated somewhat because of these atmospheric rivers, and who knows where we're going to go from here. So you get more severe droughts, you get more severe floods. The atmosphere is warmer. So if you're 1.5 degrees warmer, that's 7% plus another half, so that'd be 10.5% more water vapor can be held in the air. I think over land, though, actually the temperature has risen some 2 degrees Celsius, and so that would be 14% more water vapor in the air. So when the rains come, they're in a deluge, and it happens, really, really hard, and a lot of it. So this is a weakened jet stream. You get less of a temperature difference between the tropical regions and the Arctic, and in fact, during this cyclone, warm air has been pushing up into the Arctic regions as well. So you get this wavy jet stream going on. Today it's cold here, relatively speaking, which is really seasonable. I mean, this is mid-January, so it should be 36 degrees. But after today, it goes up to 40, then 45, then it hangs in the 50s for the next week. And I don't ever remember this. This is the winter without the winter. It's basically a cold fall, or a cool fall. It's equal to October weather here, or mid-March or late March weather. So it's amazing, and it's horrible. I mean, this is not good. The trees and the plants are having a weird adaptation. This is a big orchard area, and what will happen is the orchards will start blooming, and then we'll end up getting an inevitable cold snap for 2 weeks in February. It usually happens. And then all the buds on the trees will die off, and then the trees are stressed, and they have to rebloom again, if they do at all, and they might not. So you get a wavy jet stream when you get into this situation. It's a weakened jet stream, and it goes through waves, and so you don't know what you're going to get. And it's a result of La Nina as well. The La Nina event's been hanging in there for 3 years now. And I kind of feel like the weather's starting to change, especially in the West. So it's an indication that something's shifting, and I'm wondering if it's not going to go from a La Nina to a neutral state, and then eventually to an El Nino. And the longer the El Nino event holds off, the warmer the oceans get. The oceans are at the warmest temperature they've ever been in the history of humanity. So this is what's going on, and when the oceans decide to vent this heat, it's going to heat the atmosphere, and we're going to jump in temperatures, you know, a half a degree Celsius. And that'll be devastating because that'll cause even more feedback loops, such as more ice melt, which causes more wavy jet stream. It's just a whole, and it spins off from there into massive events. There's probably over 100 different feedback loops when you really look at it. And so it's going to cause a real stress event for survival. And this is the year 2023, and it is a year of reckoning for not paying attention and keeping the carbon dioxide levels at a lower level. And we're paying for this with Mother Earth. She's trying to shake us off like a dog getting rid of fleas. And she's going to be throwing all sorts of stuff at us, and these are going to be stressors for life on Earth. And if we persist, as you can hear from the traffic, if we persist on this path, we will not survive it. You know, we're not going to survive this situation. It's just, you look at a point to point to point, and it's a linear curve, and it's getting steeper and steeper, and we won't survive. You're not going to have food. You're not going to have the environment. The biodiversity is dying off, and it's not a good situation. And humans are at the apex of the food chain. And when your lower levels, like a house of cards, falls, eventually the top levels go too. So this is what we're working towards. We're working towards extinction. And if Joe Biden and the Democrats and the Republicans want to stay in control and not have pure bedlam going on in this country, as they showed last year on January 6th, which is not a good thing, who knows what this country is capable of, and people around the world, when they start losing their food and habitat and things like that. You know, right now, what's not making any sense to me, you got all these events hitting in the Midwest, in the West, in the far West, and the flooding and the drought and the tornadoes and all sorts of stuff happening everywhere. And you don't hear any protests going on anywhere. You kids in college in the West and the South, why aren't you protesting? What is going on? This is not making any sense to me at all. And the kids here at Gettysburg College, no one's protesting on the street, anything like that. It's like some sort of weird severe pressure, peer pressure. And they're worried about their jobs in the future. But you young people, you're not going to have a job in the future because you won't be here in the future. So you really got to start fighting for yourself and take a look at the films from the Vietnam protests back when the college kids took control, and they changed the course of the whole nation. So the atmospheric rivers are the most responsible for transporting water vapor from the tropics up into the Arctic region or elsewhere within the globe. So if you look at a map, at least off the equatorial west coast of South America, Central America, and the United States, the airflow goes along the equator from from east to west. It's the opposite, and then it swings around. It becomes a Pineapple Express north of Japan and the Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia, and swings up and then comes right into California right now with these atmospheric rivers, and that's why it's happening. They call it the Pineapple Express, but it goes way back past that. Way before that. It's a tropical issue. And as I said, the flow is from South America, Central America, and North America west, goes underneath Hawaii, and then comes to Japan and then that area and Kamchatka Peninsula, and starts swinging east again with a massive amount of water vapor because it picks up all that warm, moist air. So the California floods right now, you're going to have at least 2 more of these waves coming in, and they're going to be devastating because the ground's already saturated and they can't handle it anymore. So collectively, this is the most dangerous time or most dangerous climate issue that's ever happened in the history of the state. And what you're having is floods, levee breaks, overtopping the levees with floods. You have mudslides, you have rock avalanches, you've had hurricane force winds and tornadoes. You know, they've had it all, and even hail. They've had hail there, which often goes along with the tornadoes because there's massive uplifting. And to form hail, you have to have these ice pellets develop, and they just keep getting blown up in the clouds and then coming back down, and then blown up in the clouds and then coming back down, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually the air can't hold it up anymore, and then you get hail. But what that is an indication of is there's severe uplifting in the airflow in the clouds, and often that spins off into a tornado. So far, as I said, there are 19 dead in California as a result of this. They think there's over $30 billion in damage, which is kind of crazy. And a lot of the reason is because, like here in Gettysburg, there's a huge amount of asphalt and bricks and concrete, so the rain can't sink into the ground. I'm looking around here, there's a couple flower beds, but that's about it. There's nowhere for the rain to go but downhill, and who's ever at the bottom of the hill is going to suffer the consequences of a massive deluge. And that's going to happen here, too. People aren't seeing it, and there's no provision for dealing with a massive outflow of rain or a deluge that's going to come. And it will come. It's only a matter of time. And you're going to have to build flood walls to keep the rivers down and things like that if you live near a creek. So it's a bad thing. So much of the snow is being dumped off or rain is being dumped off as snow in the Sierra Nevada mountains. And that proportion of snow does not persist into Rocky Mountains. So they're getting a sort of amount of snow there, but the Sierra Nevadas is getting dumped on with tens of feet at a time. So it's crazy what's going on. Now around the world, you have Sydney, Australia, up to October this year, so it's a 12-month thing from January to December. Up to October, they've had 7 feet of rain. Now this is the same area that had the massive fires in 2020. So instead of having fires, which they had in 2020, which killed billions of animals and people as well, killed hundreds of people, you're having 7 feet of rain. They've had 7 feet of rain in 9 months. That's unfathomable. So they're having flooding. So anytime it rains a little bit due to deluges and the shifting of the ocean currents and where the location of warm blobs are, anytime they get a little bit of rain, now they have a catastrophic flooding event. Okay, also next November, I think it is, or September, they're having the COP28 meeting, which is, the meeting to get together of all the countries to discuss climate change and fossil fuels and things like that. However, these meetings never discuss fossil fuels. They avoid the issue, even though it's all about fossil fuels. So next year's COP28 is at the United Arab Emirates country. And the leader in charge is actually the world's most prominent oil executive, some sheikh. And it's crazy to have a climate change meeting in a country that is one of the biggest oil producers in the world and has no intent in changing at all. And it's actual insanity by the United Nations to locate it there. Climate change protesters need to protest this and voice their opinion about it. It's absolutely insane. That's like going to the fox den to discuss about what we're going to do with the chickens. It makes no sense at all. It's insanity going on right now, and the world's governments are hell-bent on killing us all. They're not doing nothing to protect us, and y'all are in danger. And as soon as the college kids and the high school kids and the younger generation up to age 35 start realizing they're not protected and their futures are very much in doubt, hopefully they'll get out and start doing something. So in Germany right now, you're having, in the town of Lutzgrath or something like that, you're having this coal mine that's being expanded, and these towns are being destroyed, dug up, and demolished and then dug up. And this coal mine there is huge, and they're producing this brown coal that is lignite, and it's the worst coal, the worst fossil fuel out there as far as pollution goes. And protesters are piling in there today in Germany, thank God, including Greta Thunberg. And, they're sending in thousands of police to guard the coal company rather than thousands of police to guard the climate change activists trying to save the world. So this is where the government's thought process is. They're sending in police and enforcers to protect the corporations, but not protect the people. And that's the whole purpose of a police force is to protect and serve. And they're not doing that. Governments around the world aren't doing it. Anytime you take on a corporation, the police will come in and knock your head, rather than turn around and go, hey, the corporation here is trying to kill the people. We need to arrest them, not the people that are protesting the fact that they're going to die. So it's really a reverse situation going on anymore. And it's very bizarre, and it doesn't make any sense to me. And we're in that dire of a situation, as Joe Biden said, it's an existential threat. Climate change is. Well, if it was an existential threat, then you'd be doing everything you could possible to save us. And if you're not doing everything possible to save us and the planet, and then you're culpable. I mean, not only Joe Biden, but the Democrats, the Republicans in this country, they're hell-bent on killing us, and the Republicans especially have a horrible policy. They would like to eliminate the electric vehicles totally and then go back to fossil fuel burning cars. And the weird part is these devastating acts that are happening in the West, the drought, and happening in the South are basically Republican areas. So they're killing their own people with their own policies by not progressively trying to thwart the idea of putting more pollution in the atmosphere. So the Republicans are actually insane as to what's going on concerning this. Please don't turn this off if you're a Republican. Just call out your own party, and if you have kids, turn around and look at them at the table or in the living room watching TV and think about it. And your party, both parties actually, in fact, are engaged in policies trying to kill us. Okay, they're not doing progressive action to thwart this. Oh yeah, they did the infrastructure bill, and they're going to devote $37 billion a year towards climate change, whatever that means. But right now, we just had $30 billion in damage in California in one shot. So this is collective insanity what's going on, and it's cooperative insanity that the public's not rising up and going, hey, you're going to murder us all and murder my family. That's as simple as that. It's a case of murder. So this is the third year of La Nina, and whether there's a fourth year, it's only happened 4 times since 1900. That's yet 4 years in a row of La Nina. So the odds are against a fourth year in La Nina, but I don't see a whole lot changing other than the water patterns going on in California. So something has shifted dramatically. So hopefully, or not hopefully, things will get back to slight normal for a while, but probably not. If you start going towards El Nino, it's going to be devastating for the world because it'll be such a change again. And I can't predict which way it's going to go. I mean, you look at the melting ice and everything going on. That's causing a whole game changer in the whole world. So this is the year of a reckoning. You know, it's called a reckoning. It's a retribution. And Earth is calling in her chips right now. And what's going on in the environment right now is unfathomable what's happening, and I cannot predict what's going to happen. But I can tell you it's going to be devastating. And this is the year that everyone should be recognizing that we're having an issue with climate change and we need to do something immediately. But people are unwilling to do that. Why in the world are you people in California not protesting now? Why are you people in Oregon not protesting right now? Arizona, New Mexico, the entire South, Alabama, Georgia, everything like that, in Florida. Florida had Hurricane Ian. College kids aren't protesting. I mean, it's like, my God, what's happening here? There are colleges right around Fort Myers in Florida that got devastated, and they're saying nothing. How can you do this constantly? I don't know. So next week will be January 20th. There'll be climate change protest number 215. I'll see you then. All right, see you later. Bye.